Hey everybody, this is Travis again with More Than a Name. Today I have the pleasure of sharing Reny's story. If you like it, please be sure and share, like, and subscribe to the channel so that we can get more people's stories out there. Thanks and have a great day. Reny, good to see you today. First question, cats or dogs?
Dogs, definitely dogs.
So we're 4 for 4 on the dogs. Do you have any pets?
I have a Yorkie Poodle. He's 2.
Nice. How would you describe yourself?
Ooh, I am loud, definitely loud. I am open-minded. I try to be as much as I can. I'm stern and I'm logical. I stand by everything that I say, and it's got to make sense to me. If it doesn't make sense to me, it's dumb. And that's not a really good thing to have, but I try to make it make sense. So at least I'm trying to make it make sense. And if it doesn't, after I try, done with it.
Absolutely. All right, if you could go back in time to your elementary, your middle, your high school days, or college days, which one would you pick and why?
Definitely college, definitely college. I went to Spelman College, so it was the utopia of black women. I was surrounded by black women all the time. We did not have to filter anything. It was the only time in my life I've never had to filter who I was at any point in time. So
can you explain a little bit about Spelman?
Yes, so Spelman is the #1 HBCU in the country. It was founded in 1881 in the basement of a church when black women could not attend school. Women were not really attending school at the time. The Rockefellers set foot and said we need to do something, and they did something, and we've continued to do something forever, and we're not going to stop doing something. It is the #1 feeder for black women in medical school. A lot of my colleagues are in medical school, law school, teachers, we're everywhere. So, yeah.
What does HBCU stand for those people that don't know?
It's a historically black college and university. When nobody let us go anywhere else, we created our own, or someone created a space for us. So historically, we went there. Yeah.
How would you describe your family?
My family, and it is evolving every single day. They are hardworking people. We are hardworking people. It's different. It's very different because generationally we're all so different. Every generation something's changing so drastically. So my grandmother picked cotton. My parents now own a successful business, and I'll be a successful attorney. So every generation something changes. I think each one of us is extremely unique in who we are, and we hold on to that so tightly that our family adapts to that. So I would say we're definitely a mosh pit of people.
What's your favorite family memory?
My favorite family memory. One year my parents had a family reunion, and my cousins came up from the country to here, and we went to Lake Winnie, and they thought it was the greatest thing ever, and we thought it was so cool to be like, look at Lake Winnie. Lake Winnie is nothing in comparison to Six Flags or Disney or anything else, but they were so excited about that. And I remember us going over the skyline, so we went Missionary Ridge so that they could see the skyline, and they thought that was the greatest thing. And I think it gave me the first time I ever had pride in being from Chattanooga. So
that's one of the things we love to do as a family too, when people come into town.
Show what we got.
Absolutely. What's something you're bad at?
Something I am bad at? I'm being quiet. I am not quiet at all. I'm never quiet. You're gonna hear it. So yeah, definitely being quiet.
So you talked about Spelman. How did you choose, or what was your path to making that choice to attending Spelman?
So my teachers, my parents, my family, everyone, college was not an option. I was going to college, and so it was just a matter of which one I was going to. So my parents, literally, we started here and we went on a college road trip, and CSAS did a trip as well, and I only wanted to go to an HBCU, so we did an HBCU tour. We started here and we went all the way to DC, to Howard, and came back. And I literally stepped on Spelman's campus and felt like I was home. One of my Spelman sisters, Alex, she went to GPS, and she was there, and she met me at the gate, and she was like, look sis, look at this sis, look at this sis, and it was hey sis from people who had never met me, and we continued that camaraderie my entire 4 years, so I picked great.
That's an awesome feeling to know, like when you walk into a place and it feels like home.
Yes.
Especially one you're going to spend at least 4 years at.
Exactly.
So what was your college experience like? favorite, least favorite part of it?
Whew. So for some reason I went to college thinking I was going to be a doctor. Don't know who put that in my head. Don't know why I thought I even liked math, because I did not, and I thought that was not part of it. So for 3 years I was a pre-med major and a naval science minor, to which I was taking physics and calculus, and I was being very quiet in class. And one of my teachers suggested that I take a poli-sci class, and I finished my degree in a year because I was so excited. I love my classes, and I was taking like 25 credits every semester to finish on time, but I loved every second of it.
That's amazing. and I don't know how you do it. So what are you currently doing and or planning?
So currently I just ended a year of law school, and I want to start another year of law school at a different school. I'm planning on just expanding how African Americans, Black people, not African Americans, Black people look at politics. I think it's something that we avoid all the time, and I think if it's us talking about it, it becomes more interesting, and it gives us something to laugh about and entertain and see, versus it being something that's kind of a top of the hill thing that we just never touch. And I love that Simone D. Sanders is on Biden's team. She's 30 years old, a Black woman with a shaved head, making it happen, and a lot of people don't know who she is, and she's become someone that I've been able to really follow the politics with, because she makes it so interesting, and she shows you the behind the scenes of, look, I'm a Black woman and I'm still fighting for people to vote, so the least you can do is go vote. So
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
whew, 5 years.
That was my short one. I was gonna ask in 10 and 20, so I'll just stop at 5.
10 or 20. 5 years, I definitely want to be done with law school, taking the bar. The world is changing so drastically in 2020 that I don't know what 2025 is going to look like. I just hope to be in a space where I feel comfortable in my space. I think for a lot of years, I felt like I was comfortable, and then when I stepped into Spelman, I was like, whoa, I was not really comfortable ever. And I just want us to be comfortable, us to be vocal, and so I hope I'm in a space where I'm vocal and just able to bring everybody up with me.
So that kind of touches on it, but what motivates you? Like, what is your why?
My why? My why is definitely, so I'm very forward thinking, so I don't think about me, I think about my kids and my grandkids, which is kind of scary that we have to do that, but being Black, that's something that we have to do. And my why is just, I never noticed how small people think because their dreams are so small. You don't get to dream when you have not seen somebody do something that you want to do, and you don't know that it exists because nobody has ever done it. I'm someone that my parents have not limited. I could tell them that I want to be an astronaut in a pink spacesuit, and they would be like, all right, let's at least get the spacesuit. Now, how you gonna get the space? We don't know. And I noticed that a lot of people don't get that, and a lot of people have never had their opinion asked, and I didn't realize that either. And so I've started to ask people questions, and I think it's just for me not being my voice, but allowing other people to gain their voice.
I love that. Can you talk about your time in the Navy just briefly?
Woo, my time in the Navy. The Navy is the most interesting space. The military is interesting for one, but the Navy is very interesting because they have their own worlds on water. And I didn't realize that when I made my decision to go into the military, that they could literally take you into the middle of the ocean, and whatever they say happens, because it's there. And I didn't think about that safety-wise. I didn't think about that mentally, physically, emotionally, that you're stuck in their world until they let you go back to land. I really enjoyed being there because I was able to be in the wardroom with the officers, so I got to see how they think, I got to see how decisions were made, and I was also able to just be in the space with the enlisted people, so that I was able to see how they work, and I was able to figure out the disconnect between some things and be able to vocalize that. I did ROTC at Morehouse College, so that in itself was very interesting because you have an all-female school and you go over to an all-male school, and they're making decisions based off of the males. I remember when there was a discussion about us moving too slowly to get to drill. So you had to work out, change into your dress uniform, and be at drill. Okay, for a guy, that's you take this uniform off, you shower, you put on another uniform, you're good. For us, it was you change from sweats, you gotta shower, you gotta put your hair up, you gotta make sure your face is clean. It was a whole lot of different steps, and they expected us to leave campus and come back to campus. Well, there was a huge bathroom downstairs, so logically, Shouldn't we get the big bathroom? No, they want us to go all the way back to school and come back. So it was very interesting to be able to learn that you have to advocate for yourself. I think I learned how to advocate for myself in the Navy if I learned nothing else. Because if you don't speak up, sometimes they just don't think about it. It's a boys' world over there. And if women don't speak up, they don't know. And I think a lot of times that is what it is. We're scared to speak up, and so they don't change anything.
Right.
And so I definitely learned how to advocate for myself. Definitely got to jump off of a ship into the ocean, got to be in helicopters. So it was a great time. It served the purpose it served. Would I go back? Woo, maybe not.
So what does your ideal day look like?
Ooh, an ideal day. I like to think of myself as a structured creative. So my ideal day, what I would get to wake up around 11. I'm not a morning person at all, and I wouldn't have to talk to anybody until 1. I can get some stuff done before I talk to somebody. I'm a foodie, so definitely eating some good food and just creating what I think I need to see, creating something that somebody else needs to see all day, and ending that with a good book and probably some good TV and going to bed super late.
So if I asked your best friends to describe you, what would they say?
I'm the toughest friend they have, and they all say it. They all say it, and I stand by it. It was something that I kind of shielded from for a minute, and then I was like, no, I'm just gonna be that. That is what I am. I am the toughest friend you ever have. I'm not your yes man at all. If you're wrong, I'm gonna tell you you're wrong, and I'm gonna describe to you how you're wrong. But I love you so much that you know it's coming from a place of love. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but I'm definitely not your yes man. I'm definitely gonna make you think. I'm gonna make you do better. I'm gonna expect better. Yeah, the tough friends.
We gotta have those. You talked about reading, watching movies, TV, whatever. Do you have a favorite book, musician, band, movie, any or all of the above?
So my favorite book is Becoming by Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama is the ultimate. She literally was Barack Obama's boss, and he tried to date her. Like, how could you not want to be Michelle Obama? And in that book, I think she just got to be so vulnerable, and I love that it was just her on paper, and now that it's on Netflix, it's a great thing to see. So that's definitely my favorite book. And my favorite movie is Jumping the Broom. That's the ideal wedding. It's this whole weekend. It's two families blending. It's a lot of ideas being mixed in. It's family secrets coming out. It's great. Like, that's literally how I want my wedding to be, with all of everybody I know in one big space, fighting it out, loving on each other. Love it.
Can you explain your outlook on our society's past and present climate?
It's
a lot, I know.
It is. The climate of America is terrible, for lack of better words. I think the system is set up so that there's walls set in place that we're all running through a maze, and we all start at different places of this maze, but you can't see where other people are. So it's very easy to say, catch up to me, I'm right here, I'm headed out, but you don't know exactly where that is, where that starts, how to get there. It's horrible. It's literally horrible, because I think all of us is in a space where we have some sort of privilege, but we're all in a space where we're also disadvantaged. And unless you're a very rich white man in DC, 45, it does not always work out for you. We don't get to create our maze, and so we're all fighting, and we want to fight for ourselves, but you also want to fight for other people, and you might not even know how to fight for other people because you don't know where they are. So the climate is it's bad. It's bad.
So one of the things that you and I kind of briefly touched on in our conversations before this is that you've been sharing a lot of examples of change on Facebook. What is one change that, if you could make one, that you would make?
Wow. One? Oh,
I know, there are so many.
I honestly, if there was one big thing that I could implement, and it's kind of scary that I would say this, I would literally just make America have to have an HR team. Like, there should be a place where we can collectively see what other people are complaining about. It's not a secret that women feel this way. It's not a secret that black people feel this way. And it should not be a secret. If we're writing into our officials about anything, it should be public. And that way they can't ignore it because it's there, it's public, it's in your face. And I think it would make us all be more empathetic to other people because it's like, yeah, this is an issue that I never thought about. And they implement policies that might be good for me, but oh wow, that really affected them poorly. And I didn't understand that because I'm not there to understand that. So I would really just give America an HR team.
I like it. I like it.
Do you believe in the paranormal?
Do I believe in the paranormal? I believe in God, and I believe he can make some stuff move and shake, so a little bit. Do I believe in ghosts or ghost hunting? No, but the paranormal, definitely, a little bit.
So what's your favorite holiday and why?
My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. Christmas is great. It's about the gifts. You get a bad gift and the whole day is ruined. Food is always going to be good on Thanksgiving. And when there's good food, there's always going to be a good time. It's always Thanksgiving. Always Thanksgiving. Like, you're so full that, like, what can you argue about? What can you be unhappy about? You're fed. You're in good spaces. You're with good people. And you're supposed to be thankful on that day. If you're never thankful for the rest of the year, you take that one day to say, I'm thankful for this. So it's always Thanksgiving.
What is your favorite place in Chattanooga? You talked about Lake Winnie. Didn't sound like that was your favorite,
It's not
but
my
it's cool
favorite.
to share with other people. What is your favorite place?
My favorite place in Chattanooga is Mimo's Grill. And if people swarm to Mimo's now and it's sold out, I'm gonna be very upset because I literally drive home just to get Mimo's. It's a hot dog, chopped weenie plate, the chili, the slaw, the hot dog. I live for it. It's nowhere else. The place is the same people every time you go. It's family owned. It's always gonna taste the same. You're gonna wait the same amount of time unless y'all run down there and start getting it. But yeah, it's Mimo's Grill. Gotta be.
So what are 3 habits or attitudes that anyone could make or change and make their life better?
Interesting. Definitely being open. You have to be open. Like, even if you don't agree with somebody, just see where they're coming from because they got there some type of way. And you might not have experienced what got them there, or you may not feel the way they feel even after they explain it. But if you're open to hear it, you can take something from everybody. Even crazy people on the streets, it's something to take from something that they're saying. So definitely being open, being willing to listen. I think a lot of times we understand something one way and it's very easy to say 1 + 1 = 2. Yeah, but if you interchange the ones, it changes. So listen to their one and put your one, and the 2 is still going to be the same. But if you think about how they logically get there, or how they emotionally get there, or however they get there, it'll teach you how to just see the world differently and maybe connect some dots differently and maybe open some opportunities that you did not know was there. And something else that I have started doing is I have started creating my ideal resume. I think it's something that a lot of people don't think about because I never thought about it. And I would get to spaces and it was people who had parents who were already in those spaces, or uncles and aunts who were already in that space, and so they knew where they were going next. And I couldn't plan where I was going next until I got into that space because I did not even know what that space entailed. So if you look at other people's resumes who are the president or who are the CEO of a company, and you say, okay, they did this and this was a very small thing, but why is that still on their resume and they're 75? It might be moot court, and it's like, oh, because I need to be doing moot court because that's what people look for. So I've started making a fake resume that I check off like a checklist at every level I go.
I've never heard of that. That's amazing. What does success look like to you?
Ooh. Success for me is if my grandchildren get to have dreams that I didn't even think was going to be a thing. If I'm successful enough to where they're not thinking about how they're going to get a house payment or thinking about how they're going to get a car loan, and they're now able to just dream as innocent as they want to be, that to me is success.
may have asked this already, so we may end up cutting it, but what advice would you give your middle school self?
Ooh, middle school Reny. Ooh, middle school Reny was rough. Ooh, that was a rough time. You knew middle school Reny. Ooh.
I did.
I would tell middle school Reny to relax. Like, everything that you need to happen is going to happen. You're going to be at the right space whenever you need to be at the right space. You're going to meet the people you need to meet. Just relax. Relax. You're in middle school. Like, relax.
Seriously. What question do you wish people would ask you?
I wish people would ask me what it's like being a black woman. I think being black is one thing, and then I think being a woman is a totally different thing. And we can have conversations about what it's like to be either or, but when you add the two together, it creates this totally different club, I guess, because I love being a black woman, but it creates this totally different outlook that nobody else has. And I think people don't ask it because they don't want to know. I think it's scary to think, if I were a black woman, what would I be? Because it is scary. It's extremely scary to be a black woman in America, but it's extremely uplifting. It's a club. Like, it's literally the greatest thing I would ever want to be is a black woman. But it's also the thing that is the biggest target on my back, if that makes sense.
It does. Is there anything I didn't ask that you would like to talk about or add? Any questions that you were hoping I would ask that I might not have?
Oh, and I had a question this morning. Hold on, let me think. Oh man, I should have wrote it down.
Always. That's the only way I can keep up with them.
It was something about a system. It was something about, because I remember what my response was going to be, of course. But it was something about just what does change look like? Because I don't know if we even know what that looks like. I think that's why this movement is so strong and we're so forward thinking and we're pushing so hard, but we really don't know what we're even pushing for. I think it's really easy to get caught up in respectability politics and the money aspect of things. Like, people are gonna say Black Lives Matter because that brings you money from black people. It's just so much that we haven't even touched. We haven't touched the education system. We haven't touched the economic system. We've literally only touched police brutality, if we're being honest, and that is so prominent for all of us because me as a black woman, I'm scared to get pulled over by the police. Even with me having kids, it's scary to even think about them being pulled over by the police. Having a black husband is scared to think LeBron James is scared to get pulled over by the police, and it's something that's so consistent that I think just us not having to be scared to be pulled over when we weren't doing anything wrong, but maybe speeding 5 miles over the hour is something that's changed, but we don't even know what change looks like as a system, as a whole, because it's so much against it.
So right now we're really focusing on a lot of micro changes,
exactly,
but no major systemic changes.
Exactly, and we don't even know what that, like, we don't even know how to implement that, who implements that. It's just such a weird thing.
Starting the conversation is at least, it's something.
Right, right.
It's not enough, but it is definitely a start, and people being willing to hear other people's stories, which is one of the reasons I started this, is again, I'm tired of seeing people's names and having to learn stories about them after they're no longer living.
Exactly.
So sharing some great wisdom from kids that I've gotten to teach that I'm learning from now is kind of, it's huge for me. I got one last question, and it is, what is the one change you most wish to see? And again, it kind of goes back to one I asked earlier, but like...
Okay, so the thing that I most want to see is I want us to be able to dream differently. I think we've never realized how boxed in our dreams are as a people, as Americans, as anyone, I think, because we don't know what it looks like I've said. And like, even with me, like, I know who I want to marry, what kind of who I want to marry, and how many kids I want to have, and we all just have a statistic against us. And I think we so often just try to fight statistics versus just dreaming openly. And I think statistics have to exist, they will always exist, but it's just unfair that every time you reach another level of success, you have to say, wait, the statistics is against it. Maybe I'm fine where I am. Maybe I should just accept where I am. Maybe I should be grateful where I am because I have beat so many statistics to get here. It's like, do I want to keep fighting statistics? Do I keep on arguing with statistics because they're there? But you have to keep doing it because it's just life. And I think if we could just stop having to fight statistics and stop looking at statistics as if they are concrete and fact, change will come.
Well, and data is just that. It's just data. There's always a story behind the data that leads to it. So if we can start changing the story, maybe we can start changing the data.
Exactly.
Reny, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.